Welcome to the TOWTalk podcast live stream. It's our New Year's Eve celebration. Even though it's not New Year, it's the New Year's Eve celebration. So what's going on? We got things to talk about. Let's see,
Hey,
studio chat.
everybody.
All right, see, we'll give a few people time to get connected
Sure, can do
and
that.
uh, and say a few
How you doing
things.
tonight? How's everything going with you today? You ready? You
Good.
got your New Year's plans ready to go?
Yeah, you mean to stay home and order Chinese food? Yeah, all set up.
Hey, listen, whatever works. Everybody has their tradition.
That's
It's all
exactly
good.
it.
It's
So
all good.
that's probably what we're doing. My mom got a new TV for Christmas. I helped chip in for that. So tomorrow I will be Marty and I'll go over there and I'll get that all set up for her so she can watch TV. But she's probably going to come over to the
She can
house
watch
anyway.
Fox News. She wants to watch
Oh
Fox News.
God,
You gotta watch her Fox News. You gotta put a parental block on that.
we
You
should
gotta
call.
put
We
a
should call.
parental block
That's exactly right. We're going to call it.
on her
We're
Fox News channel.
faux pas news or fakes news. It's fakes news now.
You should
Fakes
you should
news.
you should totally put the child lock on her account and see
Oh my God,
she
that would
won't be
be
able to
funny.
figure out how to get it off.
There we go. Let me try to turn the volume up because I could hardly hear. Hey,
That
can
would be
people
so
hear
funny
it?
if she did that.
That would be hysterical.
That
Sorry,
would
this
be
is.
hysterical.
Oh, I'm sorry. I locked you out of Fox News. You get, well, what else could she watch? You'll have to watch us. You'll,
No,
you'll.
she won't. Just don't even tell her. Just she won't even know. She won't even. I'm not getting my Fox News. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened.
No
I don't know.
idea.
No idea.
So I think people are still
Hmm.
kind of trickling in. I put a little post out there to remind people to come and connect. Um, but if anybody is here, say hello. Let us know your name um, so we know who you are. Um, but we could talk about things. What are you? What is your New Year's resolution? Do you have a New Year's resolution, Neil?
I don't know. Just keep chugging along. Make it to tomorrow. That's pretty much it.
Wait till
Just make it to
tomorrow.
tomorrow, and then the next day, and then the day after that. That's it. You know.
That's that's kind of where we are right now. Did uh, did you have a New Year's resolution last year that you might have?
No, to be the same sarcastic asshole that I currently am.
Oh, well then you've accomplished that. Winner.
I've already accomplished that. Yeah,
Yeah,
winner.
winner.
That's it. Just keep winning. I just keep winning.
Just
That's
keep
it.
winning. Oh my God. So we've got some news for those that are trickling in. Just drop your name, let us know who you are. Um, we've got more information regarding the video that I let out. Actually, it published this morning. I posted it last night, but it's published this morning. Our video regarding immigration, regarding the warehouses. Well, it looks like that is now gone pretty much viral. And Neil found an article from Syracuse regarding talking about Chester. It looks like they're looking at Chester for putting up these warehouses. Any comments on that? I know we got a couple of empty ones in there in that sort
Yeah.
of industrial community.
Again, I go back to I think what I've said earlier. About local. This is where your local zoning codes come in. This is where your local boards come in. You know, um, we have to. You know, the county executive just got sworn in today. Congratulations to Steve Newhouse. And I think pressure has got to be put on him that we don't want this in our community.
Yeah,
I mean, these guys, they just got elected. They may not have a reason to listen to us now that they've gotten elected, but at the end of the day, they want to keep their job.
yeah, yeah,
And my belief is we have to do a better job of holding our politicians accountable and making sure that something like this doesn't get put in our community.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's funny because my husband brought it up too. Like this is the time to talk to your local board. We've got an incoming board coming in, so I don't know if they're watching. By the way, hello, Heritage and Stillness. That's an interesting name. Welcome to the podcast and
Their
our live stream.
resolution seems to be right. Their resolution seems to be looking forward to the new year and the new administration. Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
absolutely.
So
And they are getting, and I believe Thursday, the first at 11 a.m. If you'd like to go to the swearing in, they will be doing a little swearing in at town hall on Thursday at 11 a.m. So feel free to stop on by and enjoy the festivities,
that's
and
right.
and watch the team get sworn in, the new board.
And maybe having an opportunity to interact with them. Hopefully, they're watching or they'll at some point watch this podcast, this stream, and we can bring up the fact that we do not want warehouses being used to house freaking whatever they're doing as a processing center. Definitely not in the
Up
town.
to Right. So what the article stated is that they're looking to house anywhere between 5 and 1,500 people. Okay.
Wow.
These now I really need to stress these people have never been convicted of a crime. They've never been tried. They've never been, these are people,
Yeah.
and we're looking. The U.S. is looking to put people in warehouses, and I, I'm absolutely shocked. I'm absolutely. I never thought I would see the day on American soil where this would happen.
Yeah.
I really never thought I would see, and again, you don't want to be called Nazis. Stop acting like them, right?
Yeah.
Because
Stop.
this is exactly how concentration camps are built. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, this is exactly how concentration camps are built.
And I forgot to point this out when we were talking about the new warehouse that's going up Silver Lake Scotchtown by the tunnel. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
that tunnel is train tracks. We talked about how they wanted to use trains to transport these people for processing. Well, that there's a train track right there next to where that warehouse is built, and usually what they do is they just kind of put a switch track and put a little lane that goes straight to the warehouse. They do that in, warehouse communities. That's how it is at the Wakefern building. They have a separate track there for cargo and stuff. So what's to stop them from doing that just to roll in people? I mean,
Don't
that's
give them any
insane.
ideas. Don't give
Yeah,
them
no, I
any
don't plant
ideas
it.
because they this is what's happening in our community now. This is
Yeah.
this is where we are as a community now, and what makes me even sadder is that there are people who advocate for this type of stuff, and it just makes me feel, it just makes me sad. It makes me sad that America would treat people, anybody
Yeah.
like this.
Well, the narrative has changed, right? They first they were all talking about undocumented. Actually, they were all talking about criminal migrants, people who commit crimes, the worst of the worst. What happened to that? That's like long past. We've gone from the
Yeah.
worst of the worst to actual citizens being deported, like the one we mentioned yesterday, young woman who was an American citizen.
Maryland woman. Maryland
Yeah,
woman. Yes.
an American citizen. So we've really they've really marched forward at a blistering pace with what they're doing. This is we're
And so,
rapidly well
right.
we're rapidly moving towards an ethnic cleansing. We already are in the process of it.
Yes. And and so the next thing that what people don't realize is happening is that there's actually a court case now that will be decided by the courts regarding Geo Group. So Geo Group is the largest private prison operator in the United States. Okay, they are the one responsible for, I would say, probably most of the immigrant detention facilities that are in the United States right now. They've been forcing the detainees, the people, to work for slave wages, basically $1 a day, is
Wow.
what they've been doing. And now there's a court case, and they admitted to doing this. So like this isn't like me making this stuff up, right? Like there's actually a court case that they're being sued for, not only, the slavery, right, aspect of this, right, because they're getting slave wages, right, and they're being told that they have to work, right, while incarcerated, and even though they haven't been convicted of any crimes,
Yeah.
right. So there's actually a court case, and in the court case they admitted to all this, but what they're saying is that they can't be sued. Their argument is because they're a federal contractor, they can't be sued for any human rights violations or any civil rights violations.
I
Okay?
say that I call bullshit on that.
No, you call bullshit on that, but that's going to be the key case. Because if the Supreme Court rules, right, ends up ruling that they are immune, that the federal government is responsible and therefore, blah blah blah, then what they've done is they've immunized a private corporation to commit human rights and civil rights violations. And
In direct violation of the Constitution. I think it's what is it, the Eighth Amendment? With
you could list the laundry of amendments
uh,
that
that they're all
that
violating.
violates. But this is where, right, this is where our Supreme Court has gone off the rails. This is where our legal system has gone off. This is where our executive branch and legislative branch have gone off the rails, right?
Yeah.
And it really becomes beholden on our state, right, states' rights and local rights, home rule, that we got to fight this stuff,
Yeah.
and it really comes down to putting in proper zoning codes and then enforcing those zoning codes that people can't be housed in warehouses.
Yeah.
Like it's non-sanitary, and it's not made for that. It's not
And
made
it's
for
cruel and
housing
unusual.
in commercial areas.
Yeah, and it's cruel and unusual, especially in the dead of winter. You
Right.
imagine you don't have proper heating. It's all concrete floors. Can you imagine? My
Heating,
God.
plumbing. Like they were talking about some facilities housing up to 80,000 people, right? But they're going to have 10,000 beds for 80,000 people. Like, I mean, you're talking about, like, think about this, right? Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, okay? 80,000 people that stadium seats, right?
Okay. Yeah, it's a big stadium.
Imagine now taking all those people that fit in Arrowhead Stadium and shoving them into a warehouse.
That isn't as big.
That isn't as big, correct?
And having them fight over 10,000 beds between all
And having
80,000
no
of them.
beds, no plumbing, no showers, no bathrooms, no nothing, hardwood floors, no nothing. Imagine that. Imagine that. Because that's what we're talking about.
And we're already hearing, I mean, the stories are there, of all of the rights violations, the fact that they're being given, if they're given food at all, it's substandard or it's rancid or there's God forbid there's bugs on it. Um, you know, you've got that. The water they're drinking water out of their toilet. So, this is it's up to the states, and it starts in our local communities to be able to speak up. And so since we happen to be having a swearing in ceremony, it's an opportunity to, maybe interact with our newly elected officials and get their input on this. If they have, unless they happen to be here. Hi, Mary, by the way. Let me go post your comment. Let me see. Where is it? There it is. There. Right
So
under our
Mary,
noses.
right? Mary said that it's going to happen right under our noses. What about utilizing paths? How would they utilize paths at 1784? Are there people in the Silver Lake, Scotchtown area communities? How are we going to handle the traffic? So all good questions. As I said, right now, town of Walkill does not appear to be a target of ICE as it relates to housing in warehouses. We don't know if that may change in the future. Right now, all we're hearing about and all that's been listed in the Post article was
Chester.
Chester, New York.
And
Yeah.
Chester makes sense. They have an industrial complex right off the highway, and you're pretty much equidistant between I-87 and I-84, right along 17. So you can bring people up through Pennsylvania, or you can bring people up through Jersey or down in the city on I-87. So I could see why they would consider using Chester for
it
that.
just it's just really interesting that here we're talking about how like we had all the protests for Legoland, we have all the protests for the the in Weweyanda, not only the warehouses in Weweyanda, but the gas natural gas
Yeah.
facility in Weweyanda, right? um we have all those protests. We're it'll be interesting to see how many people come out against this facility in Orange County. you know
Well, it's hey, if anybody's game, let me know. I'm all in. I'm all in. I'll bring my cameras. I'll take all the fucking films. and just uh exercising my First Amendment rights. So I don't. The one thing we can't do is be intimidated, because that's what this. Oh, you could be arrested. No, no, you can't be arrested. We have a right to know what's going on. We have a right to
here
know how these people are being treated. They are human beings.
Here's the thing, and this has come up a few times, right? And it's the only thing that I could really say on it. Um, Everything in life takes risk, okay? And you have to ask yourself, how much are you willing to risk? Ben Franklin once said, a person who gives up, liberty for temporary safety deserves neither liberty nor safety. And
Exactly.
this is sort of that time, right? Like, I mean, they're taking away a lot of liberties here.
Oh
You're
yeah.
you're talking about constitutional rights. You're talking about inalienable rights, right? I mean, think about the Declaration of Independence. I know it isn't law, but you know, if you look at that document, it's pretty freaking clear. We all
Hmm.
have inalienable rights that aren't given to us by government. In the Federalist Papers, uh, you know, you know, Hamilton suggested. He even said that if you list, right, that there are some people who say if you list people's rights out, that if a right is not listed, that they're going to say that you don't have that right. You
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
that it gives people the ability to limit people's rights because you've enumerated their rights. Okay, and that's just not true. The framework that our founding fathers put together was just that, a framework.
Right.
You
Right.
know, the idea was, and they even said, we gave you a republic. It's your job to keep it. And basically, you have an entire party, okay, the Republican Party in power, basically saying, I'm fine with giving up my freedom to authoritarianism.
Yeah. Like,
You know,
who does that? Yeah.
and
I
and
mean,
not for nothing, they're enabled by the Democrats that are in power,
yeah.
right? Like
Right.
it's not like the Democrat. I mean, it was funny. They came out with Trump's rating, right? And the Democrats were actually rated lower, right? People had less. They said that the unfavorability rating of Democrats was higher than the unfavorability rating of Trump, right? I mean, it just goes to show you, people just they want more from their politicians. They want their
Yep.
politicians to stand up. They want their politicians to risk something. Okay?
Exactly.
If you as a
It's
leader are
exactly what we want.
unwilling to risk and sacrifice, okay, then you are not a leader and you are not somebody we should be following.
And yeah, so that brings us to, Chuckles and Jeffries. I mean, these two got to go. They got to go. We got to so we got to, again, this is we keep talking about primaries. So start looking at more progressive candidates. You see, look at the seats that are coming available, whether they're local, state, or in the federal, in Congress. And let's get some candidates out there who are not going to take PAC money. That's number one. We don't want any corporate owned candidates because that's how we got to where we are. Corporate money bought this Congress. And so we need to take it back, but we got to take it back by kicking those people out. So the institutional Democrats got to go, and we got to bring in some regular, everyday people, hardworking people who the working class. We need our
Well,
people in
where
there.
well another question is where's Hochul on all this, right? I mean, this is a local issue. Why doesn't she issue an executive order saying that people can't be housed in warehouses or some bullshit like
Well,
that?
I think we
You know,
established that recently, right?
you know,
Right?
the idea is you know let's fight. If we're gonna have these battles in court, why wait for the thing to happen and then fight the court battle, right? Why not start the court battle? Why not be proactive? We know that this
Proactive.
is where they're gonna go. Force the federal government to file a lawsuit,
Yeah.
right? Instead of waiting for you to have to be reactive, and then once the facility's in place, right? Then every time you go to court, you try to get an injunction. The Supreme Court says no, 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 because that facility is already in use. We're going to let it play out for a few years, right?
Yep.
So we have to allow this to happen for a few years. Why not, before anything is put in place, that's when we should be fighting. Start the fight then. Force them to take us to court, and then we don't have to worry about that. Then there's no, well, it's already in you. Then we don't have to worry about that argument being
Right.
played out, right? That's been the problem with the argument right from the get go, is the fact
Exactly.
that instead of being proactive, eh, everybody's been reactive. And then the courts have been saying, well, we're going to stay that order, allow him to continue doing that, and so until it plays out in court. And then it takes years for it to play out in court.
Yeah. Yeah. But that would actually, let it get it tied up in court, sit there with no decision back and forth, but play the same game, right? We put our laws in place, we put our rules in place, and then we just tie it up and drag it out in court until
Right.
they're out of office and we can actually cement laws in place. Because what's happening here is just this is well, they've gone out of their way to dehumanize these people by calling them criminals and calling them illegals and not calling them people. And the vast majority of these people are in fact documented, and even more so, aren't criminals, whether they're documented or not. They haven't done anything besides not have the right paperwork in hand. And I realize that might upset people, but in the end, they haven't committed the crimes that they're being accused of. Like a perfect example is the saga of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. I mean, he's been accused of so many things they just refused to admit that they made a mistake by grabbing him and sending him to El Salvador. He wasn't supposed to go. He was under protection by a court. They could have they could have arranged to have him legally deported to another location. It actually, that's what the court order said. He just can't go back to El Salvador. And instead, they said, no, he's a criminal. He's a terrorist. He's MS-13. He's this, everything. He's a wife beater. He's a child beater. He's a trafficker. They've just been nonstop. They've just been nonstop trying to badmouth this guy, and he keeps coming back and winning.
Here's again, I go to, if your argument was, which is what I heard from the people in my circle, right, about immigrants, was you don't want your tax dollars going towards immigrants. Your tax dollars are now going towards immigrants on steroids. And not only that, your resources are going to immigrants on steroids, right? Because of an administration that has decided that money is no object, that they can just spend money and at the same time say, you know what, screw Americans, right? We don't give a shit about Americans. We don't give a shit if Americans have health care. We don't give a shit if Americans have roads. We don't give a shit about Americans. We just want to do this thing, all right? Because at the end of the day, if you listen to their money, their people who back them, the Peter Thiels and the Ellisons of the world, they want to set up an Elon Musk, right? It's Ellison, Musk, and Thiel, right?
The technogarchs. We call them technogarchs now.
Right? What they want to set up is a surveillance state of and make it whites only.
Yeah.
And that's it. And if you, and all you have to do is listen to them. Right? They literally say it every time they
say it out loud.
Talk. They say it out loud. They say it every time they talk. This is what they want to do. So the question is what are, this is the money interest that is backing our politicians. Our politicians are listening to this because this is where their money comes from, and this is how they get reelected. Okay? Because you can't get reelected and you can't get elected to office unless you have money. Okay?
Right.
This is the fucked up system that we have. Okay? So as long as we continue to have this system, right, it's going to continue to be corrupt and corrupted by the likes of these three billionaires. Okay?
Exactly.
And this is what they want. And it's not just, if you think it's just, it's not immigrants. They are coming after everybody. They're coming after American citizens. They don't give a shit who you back. They don't care what your persuasion is. They don't care what your belief system is. They don't even care if you're Christian or not Christian. They don't care if you're Republican or not Republican. They just want to do their thing because they want to make this an all-white country. And that's it.
Yeah. And they want to reduce the population dramatically because then it's more for them. Right? They're sort of competing to be a trillionaire. Looks like Elon is in the lead. But you sent me an interesting video, I guess it was yesterday, regarding Ellison. More Perfect Union did an in-depth look at Larry Ellison, and what's interesting is that video is a month old. It was done last month, and it's I'll find that video and I'll post a link in the final recording after this is recorded so that you guys can see it. It goes into Ellison, and Ellison is talking about surveillance, and he's like poo-pooing privacy. This idea of privacy laws, like why do we need that? So you don't fucking look up our shit, you piece of shit. Looking up our records, sticking your nose up my ass.
He has access. He already has access to everything. That's the thing. Is what one thing that what they show you is this, right? So the government has spent decades outsourcing, right? Every administration has outsourced more and more, never more so than actually under the Clinton administration. A lot has been outsourced, okay? And what that outsourcing has done, it has forced the federal government to now be beholden to those contractors, right? They can't get out of those contracts. So like Ellison has like all the databases, all the IT, everything is all controlled by Ellison
Yeah. Yeah.
and Oracle,
Yeah.
right? And Oracle also has contracts with the CIA and the Defense Department, everything else. So Ellison really controls the government, right? Like it's a symbiotic relation. It's not like the government can turn around and sever ties with Ellison, right?
Because
Like
it's so involved in
right,
high security stuff. Yeah,
correct.
he put himself right in there, and then he has the nerve to say that this idea of privacy, that citizens don't deserve privacy, that they're going to be watching us so that citizens are on their best behavior. His words. People will be on their best behavior because we're going to be watching. Who the fuck are you?
So
Yeah,
so
watch
people
this.
so for anybody who doesn't know who Ellison is, because we've talked about him a few times, he is the CEO of Oracle. Okay, his kid, his family owns the Paramount, right? They made the Paramount deal, Skydance, for not only
For
local
CBS
television
Paramount.
stations, but they also CBS Paramount. They own CBS Paramount. They just made the deal for TikTok, right? So they're going to control TikTok. Okay, we've talked a lot about in this country about how the oligarchs control Russia, right? Like, and that was like a really bad thing, right? We had a lot of conversations about that, right? We have three oligarchs in this country that control everything, that really control everything. I
All
mean,
the
Peter Thiel,
technology and media.
right? Peter Thiel and his private equity firm, right? He owns a lot of stuff through that. And then you have Elon Musk. I mean, who owns Twitter, and he owns Tesla and a bunch of other organizations. I mean, these guys are ingrained in everything. They have government contracts, they have DoD contracts. They're ingrained in everything.
Excuse me. Excuse me. And just think about it. Where do they get those who pays those government contracts? That's our tax dollars. So they've taken, our tax dollars used to pay for services that benefited the people. Now they benefit the billionaires instead
And
of
that
us. And
means
they yeah,
right.
go ahead.
And that means less roads, right? Less infrastructure projects. That means, them taking warehouses, right? And warehousing people in it. I mean, this means less for us, right? And now you take that a step further. Well, if you're not getting the funding from the federal and state government for roads and infrastructure projects, that means your local property taxes have to pay more for those things. Okay? That means you're on the hook for more of those things. And that means that your local government, because they don't want to raise your taxes and drive you out, right? That means that there is going to be less and less that they can do. Okay? It's a really vicious cycle. And then you have the state government coming in, right? And saying, well, this group, which we understand, maybe on fixed income, but is the more affluent group, right, in statistical area, right? They don't have to pay as much.
Right.
So that means that the people who have less have to pay more for your local infrastructure. Okay.
So there
it,
you
it
go.
it's really it's really kind of messed up how government works, but everything is geared towards, right, the incentive structure of your local politician who wants to get reelected, and you have to
Right.
look at that through that lens point. So good services don't matter.
Money
Services just don't
matters.
matter to you. Money matters. Getting reelected matters. Everything else doesn't matter, right? And again, if you're not going to take risks, okay, then you don't deserve to be a leader.
Right.
And sometimes you have to take those risks things have to happen to ensure that you get the things done, that you have the money to get what you need to get done. You know, like, you know, drive around. You can drive. We drive around the town of Walker all the time. There are potholes everywhere,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we
Yeah,
we had that guy
absolutely.
come in, right? We had that guy come in who rated our roads, right? He rated all the town roads. Remember, not us, but the town board, right? It was at one of those town board meetings. They paid a contractor, right? We showed it here. It was on one of
Okay,
our
that's
previous
right.
things, right? Where we showed the guy went through the roads of the town,
They
right,
were
to
all
evaluate, and
they were all
we were like C's.
shitty.
We're like a C. We're like a C student, right? And our politicians are cheering, saying, "Yes, we got a C. We got a C. Yeah." Even the teacher on the board. There's a teacher on the board, right? Yeah, we got a C. Yeah, we love C's. You know, like, and the only roads that got an A, right, were because one councilman makes sure his road is paved every year, right? Like his road every other road gets paved on a 20-year basis. His road got paved every year.
Wow. This is what
Okay? And that's the type of waste of money that we all have to deal with, right? When you have elected officials that have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I have New Year's resolution then. So our New Year's resolution is to up the government, man. Get rid of some of these assholes. 2026 is our year. We need to really, we got to primary people. We got to throw out idiots in local government as well as state government, as well as definitely the federal government. We have to work on getting some progressive people in there who care about people's issues, citizens' issues, and not billionaire issues.
I
So what
don't,
do you?
like, and that's the thing. I don't care whether you're left or you're right. Just care. Have some
Just
empathy for the people,
thank you.
and don't be corrupt, right? Like, listen, I've known some good Republicans who try to do the right thing. I've known good Democrats who try to do the right thing. It's like I always say, like some people say having a CPA, right? Oh yeah, you must be educated and you could pass the test and blah blah blah. I knew CPAs who couldn't find their way out of a paper bag. Okay, right? It doesn't. Some of these things don't mean anything, right? You have to have common sense. You have to have the ability to know what the hell you're doing, and you got to ask questions.
Right.
Okay, not everybody's going to be the sharpest knife in the drawer, and that's fine, right? But you have to go in and want to learn,
Yeah, exactly.
right? You have to want to learn. You have to want to do the right thing. I'm not saying you need to be an Einstein to be in local government because you don't, right? But you
Yes,
got to
we've
care and you got to
established that.
learn, right? You got to go to the training classes, right? The two board members that got reelected, okay, there are two board members that got reelected on the local town board who have never attended one of the classes by the state comptroller's office,
Now, are
right?
those classes required?
No, there's no requirement for a town board member to take any classes, right? But I took classes every year. Okay, I took classes in between. Okay, I took a lot of classes. Right, I'm still taking classes. Okay, I still show up to the classes. Last year, Steve Vanella was at the classes.
Right.
Okay, all right. Two of the board members on this town board and the town of Waukegan have never been to the classes. Right? Served on the board for 10 years now and have never been to one class, but claim that they know everything, right? But meanwhile have been shown time and time again to know nothing. And they continue to lie and make up stuff that just isn't true, right? And then when you go to the comptroller classes, right? Oh, it was really funny, right? So the councilman who is no longer on the board, okay, attended his first class last year. He served on the board for 24 years, attended his first class this year. I attended it with him. I was actually in the class with him, right? and they were saying everything that I had been saying for 8 years on the town board, right? And I looked at him; he just had his arms crossed and he was shaking his head, right? Like he was like disagreeing with the comptroller giving the class. You know, you could tell he didn't like it. And then at the end of the class, they're like, oh yeah, we have a list of all the delinquent, and there was Counterwalko right there, right? Like 2 years behind delinquent.
Hello. So it's
Hello.
funny. It's funny you should bring that up because, of course, our favorite group that is back reared their ugly heads again. The it's a group on Facebook that claims to be run by women about the town of Walkill, and I've called out before that that's definitely a councilman or someone within government
Yeah,
who's doing it.
it's the councilman who's leaving office,
Yeah,
who's on
I'm
his way
I'm
out the door. Yeah.
so so I guess it was earlier this month that councilman and Serrano had a had a going away party or a bon voyage party, and so someone had posted something to the effect that who's paying for this party, who paid to reserve the community center.
That was me. That was
That
me,
was
Buckle.
that was you,
I'll
right?
ask that question, right?
Okay, who did that? So it shows up today because it just so happens that there's going to be a party following the swearing in ceremony at the community center, but that's booked now. So they actually took that post and put it into that article and talking about,
Oh,
well, who's
that was my mom. That was my
that was
mom. Yeah, that was my. So my mother is been very active in the community. She's obviously lived here for over 50 years now,
yes.
right? Um, they've belittled. My mom raised two accountants, right? She's not a dummy. She raised two accountants, okay, two CPAs, okay, and she's not a dummy, and she even had issues with the way they were doing their finances. I mean, like, listen, my mom's the type of person that sits there with a ledger, right? Like she has those old accounting ledgers, right? Like with the 18 column paper, right? Like
My
I mean,
God.
like I mean crazy, like crazy. I mean she really is old school when it comes to her accounting. And she questioned and they belittled her and they made fun of her. I mean, this is how they treated people, right?
Yeah.
Like it can't just be how you treat the people who will vote for you or like you. It's how you treat everybody. And what they did is they went out of their way to belittle people, to make people feel small, to basically try to prop themselves up and make themselves better than everybody else. You are not a king on the hill. I keep saying that. You're not a king on the hill, right?
Right.
We're
Well,
all just people. We're all just
it's what
people.
I call SDE, small dick energy. That's what they got going on. SDE, small dick energy. But my point that I brought it up is they brought that post up in and put it as a new post and said, look, even I guess it was your mom. Um, even your mom agrees with this question about who's paying for the community center, trying to allude to the fact that there better not be tax funds being used. Can I just point something that the blatant, blaring obviousness of the fact that, because he was basically accusing Frank Dendanto already of using taxpayer funds to pay for this party that's already been booked. Frank is not in office yet. He doesn't get sworn in. He doesn't until Thursday. How does he get access to tax money? I don't know.
Listen,
Maybe you know something that he doesn't know since you held a party a month ago. Who paid for that?
they are just liars.
Yeah.
Everything things are gonna come out. They will be exposed, right? They can't hide shit forever. What's interesting. So
Really?
we have Kristen um, messaging us. Basically, she said that the website is being run by Councilman Eric, who is
I
leaving
said that
office,
too.
and she basically is pointing out that there were a lot of comments on that Facebook post that he did, and apparently now the comments are all gone.
So they deleted anything
Okay,
that doesn't
right,
fit the narrative they're trying to spin, except for the fact
right.
that Frank Dendanto is not in office and doesn't have access to the tax money that you're accusing him of already spending. He ain't even there yet, but you guys are still there for another
Those guys,
day.
the listen. Again, short order, things will be exposed. I have no doubt that Supervisor elect Danto, once he takes office, will be able to gain access. That there'll be nothing stopping him. I highly expect. Again, um, you know, there are two councilmen on the board. I highly expect them to throw hissy fits and say that Frank can't have access, that Steve can't have access, that Don can't have access. Going through the same bullshit again, right?
Yep.
And you know, this goes to who has control, right? It's gonna really come down to, the employees have, the supervisor handles the day to day operations, and my feeling um you know the attorneys have to step up and say, this is the person in charge. They are getting the information, whether you
Yeah.
like it or not.
Yep.
you know
Yep.
Kristen wants us to mention about the lawsuits and affairs.
Oh yeah,
Thank you,
dirt.
Kristen. Thank you, Kristen, for sharing that dirt with us. Yes, it was pointed out that so again, this goes to what were they actually doing, right? I mean, the supervisor was having an affair with an employee, and they were going on midday rendezvous during working hours,
At a
right?
certain local hotel.
Right. So it's sort of like, where, like that is not only highly inappropriate, it is discrimination, and it can't be done. Like that's ridiculous. And then, we have this individual, Eric, right, who likes to attack us. Meanwhile, he's supporting the guy who's going around, right, spending taxpayer money going to Disney World in Florida, right, and
God.
and having affairs with staff, right? That's okay.
Wow.
There's been absolutely no investigation of those things at all, and I would certainly call on the new administration to look into those things,
Yeah.
to make sure everybody was above board. you know, Not only that, there is a federal lawsuit, and I brought it up in the past. There is a federal lawsuit against the former supervisor and the town for discrimination,
Yes.
for
Yes.
the firing, and I've talked about that. So these guys aren't squeaky clean, and it's glad I'm going into the new year and not having two of those guys on the board. The other two, we'll see what happens. But at this point in time, I'm sure that they'll be loud, but you have to understand where it comes from. It's coming from the idea that they just want to hide everything that had been done in the past. I mean, I saw that in real time, in Frank's first term, and I hope he learned this lesson, right? His first term, a lot of those conversations that happened at the beginning regarding the finances were done in an executive session, and they shouldn't have been done in an executive session, but they were because Frank was trying to work with the other three board members, right, who had been negligent and who were hiding things. Okay, so he was trying to be on that level with them, right?
Right.
Once he started doing things in the public view, it started changing the response. They still fought it, right? They fought salaries. They fought doing spending money on independent accountants, which now they're willing to spend the money on. Right? They were
Oh
upset
yeah.
about spending $15,000 on O'Connor Davies for a risk assessment, but have now spent $350,000 to fix the problem. If you spent the $300,000 to fix the problem instead of just the $15,000, we actually we would have not lost our bond rating, and we would have had good books now.
Yeah,
So
exactly. But you can't tell them
so
that.
this right. So this is pretty
I'm
clear.
freezing.
You know, I thank Kristen for bringing these things up, but those posts, those comments that were there are now gone. So
Did anybody screenshot them? You did. You got the screenies.
oh, I
Oh,
got all
those,
screenshots. Absolutely. Absolutely. I wasn't letting that shit go. Are you kidding me? That's going to be a nice little lawsuit. It's going to be a nice little lawsuit for me. Are you kidding me?
nice, nice. So
That's an
yeah, so
absolute it just every time they post it's like lawsuit, it's going to be
it's
great. Going into court, getting discovery on all that shit, you know.
unreal. This is what we have in our town instead of just like just doing basic town boring. I guess it's not boring. It's not boring, right? You've got gossip. Don't actually have any good,
Believe it or not,
administration going on.
every town has gossip. Every town
Yes.
has gossip. You know, that's if you pay attention to your local town board and local town politics, there is absolutely gossip in every community, right? And this is really what makes not having local news really sad, all right? Is the fact that in local we used to have local news when we used to have a paper, right? The Times Herald Record and Mike Levine, right? We used to get all that juicy gossip, right? Like we used to get that. Like Mike Levine's like articles used to come out, and we used to all be
Yep.
tied to that newspaper, going, "Oh my God, what happened now?" You know that's how the investigation occurred into the town's local police back in early 2000 that we talked about, when the town was put under federal monitoring, right? Because the town police had baseball cards and were giving them out to women, right?
Of
So
themselves
of
with their
themselves, yes,
stats.
with their stats, right, and phone numbers, right? But that all came out through local reporting. Okay, without the local reporting, a lot of that stuff you just don't hear anymore, and
Yeah.
then everybody just kind of goes, well, I don't hear anything, so everything must be good, and that seems to be the fare
I,
that everybody wants to be under, right?
and when you don't have that oversight from the media and from, good reporting, people asking questions, it makes it easier and easier for people to be corrupt. And already it's really easy in small towns like ours because most people aren't even engaged in what's happening with their town government. They watch what happens at the state, they watch what happens federally, but nobody realizes what could be happening in your backyard. And what we're finding out is that this financial issues goes back a lot longer than the current administration. Maybe except for the one member that's here for 20 years. I mean, we have problems dating back to 2 decades or 2.5 decades. Let's talk. You just brought up the incident with the police pulling people over and giving them baseball cards and trying to go quid pro quo for sexual favors with women that they were pulling over. That happened like 2000, 2001. So there have been problems here for a very long time, and most people aren't looking. But it did get exposed because of, a hardworking reporter dug in and found it. That's what we're missing. And in this space, we're doing independent or an independent podcast, we do cover news articles, but we also give opinions and stuff. You know, I'm thinking about going full reporter here and starting to ask questions because we don't have people investigating stuff, and we're going to have to do it ourselves to get
It
information.
really it takes, right, like it takes actual research, it takes picking up the phone, it takes foiling information, and foiling information can take time. I will be the first one to admit it.
Well, you're
But
doing that
it
all the time.
take right. But you have to do it. And it has to, and these, but there's no reporting, there's no investigative reporting these days. Like, I remember talking to reporters and saying, well, you have to foil the information to get it. And
Yeah.
they would be like, oh, okay, and then they would just give up, and so we, you, in order for you have to understand like all the ways, right, that your local politicians and all the power that they have, right? So you have inspections, right, on properties. Okay, it if what's to prevent a supervisor from saying, you know what, don't collect the fees, for building or for inspections or whatever, or we're gonna waive this, or what, just say you did the inspection and sign off on it,
Yeah.
and if
Yeah.
if, if there's
There's
no
nobody
oversight,
watching.
and if and there's no board, these things could happen. All these things could absolutely happen. Or, as we said in the finances, if nobody's checking the bills that are being paid, right, and monitoring the bills that are being paid, who's to say? We in the risk assessment that was done by O'Connor Davies, they were like employees were approving their own expense reports, right?
I mean,
Like, I mean, are you fucking kidding me?
they could
Right?
be putting
Like,
anything in there.
they could be putting anything in there, and so we need to be better, right?
Yeah.
Like, we need to understand what local government is about. I talked a lot about internal controls, but I talked about internal controls because that is the most important thing in a government sphere, is ensuring that there are controls in place, so that way nobody can do anything inappropriate or illegal. Okay,
So the
making sure you have the proper oversight over things, and make sure that that things are being properly reviewed, money is getting to where it's supposed to be, that there's proper controls in place. Like, I think I mentioned at one point in time, the town didn't collect, the hotel tax for 2 years, right?
yes.
you know, and nobody knew. The town of Wongo didn't collect their hotel tax for two years, and they had to go back and try to get that money back. Okay, um, where's the log? Where are the
Yeah.
letters going out? Who is doing these things? Right. This is why you set up policies and procedures, to ensure exactly who does what and who's accountable for what. Because
Right.
at the end of the day, right, like what happened in this instance, everybody turns and points a finger at everybody else and blames everybody else. Well, it's not my fault. That was your job. Oh, that wasn't my job. That was your job. And it doesn't get done. And these things are important because these are
Yeah.
your tax dollars, right? Like, if they're not collecting money for construction, or they're not collecting money for their hotels or anything like
Yep.
that, well, that means you have to pay more in property taxes because they're short on revenue.
Yeah. Yep. So, so as we're winding down here, to the end of our hour here, boy, it goes fast, man. Um, does anybody either have questions, comments, wants to throw out a New Year's resolution?
Got 1 minute left, people. Come on. What else we got?
I show 3 minutes. I show 3 minutes.
Oh, 3 minutes. Sorry, I was looking at our counter.
You look at,
We've
oh
been
yeah.
online for 59
Oh
minutes.
yeah, that's
Okay.
right. Well, we logged in a minute
Logged
or
in a
two.
little early. I just
Yeah,
realized that.
yeah, because
So
we
if
were.
anybody has anything else, we got 3 minutes left. Let's hear what you got to say. Any resolutions, anything that you're looking forward to with the new administration here in Waukegan or maybe in your hometown. Let us know what's happening in your area. We'd love to talk to you.
Yeah. I will say this. A little announcement. We are now on Spotify. I had set that up and it wasn't, I was having issues getting the email. Every time they sent me the, verification email and I click on it, it wouldn't go through. So it finally went through. So if you've got Spotify, you can find us under the TOWTalk podcast on Spotify. There's some content that I sent that like, the software that we use to do these podcasts will automatically send stuff over to Spotify, but it sends the audio feed, and then I have to go in if I want to do the directly send it for the video feed. So you can find some of our stuff in audio only, and then there's a couple of more things that are both audio and video. So that's a cool thing. And with Spotify, I'll be using the RSS feed to get us copied over onto other platforms such as Apple. Maybe there's a couple of other podcast platforms that I'll be working on getting us on there as well. So make sure you're subscribed. If you haven't subscribed to us, I'm assuming the folks that are here are already subscribed. But if not, please do that, because that's how you get notified for when we have new stuff coming up here on YouTube. YouTube is our main platform, as you know. And we are also on Facebook. A lot of you follow us on Facebook. And share us with your friends, because we need to get up. The one reason why we can't stream to Facebook is because we need to have a minimum of 100 followers. I don't know, it's a stupid rule. So we're almost there, but we still need some more followers. So definitely share us with your friends. Let us get some followers there so we can build up on Facebook. So we want to. We're going to be doing a lot more content in the new year. I guess that's a resolution right there. Our resolution is to bring you more content, do a little more in-depth stuff, find out more about what's going on here in the town, as well as expanding on other topics that are outside the town, whether it's state or federal, and how it impacts us here. So there you go. Any comments there, Neil?
Got nothing. Just happy New Year to everybody. I hope everybody's New Year's resolutions come true. Remember, they last one day, so you have one day to make it good, and then
I
they go right
plan to
out the
lose
window.
400 pounds. I want to lose 20 pounds in a day. Whoops, I failed.
Right. So you got one day to do it, but I really do hope everybody has a happy and healthy New Year, and I mean everybody, every single
Yes.
person, here and around the world. I wish everybody a happy and healthy one.
And let's looking forward to 2026. Happy New Year, folks! And we will be bringing you more content. Look for us on our on the weekend for our when we upload new videos. All right, guys. Have a wonderful holiday. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. And we will see you soon. All right.
Peace
Take
out.
care, guys.